Hello, my friend. Welcome back to Learn English Daily. I'm Alex. I'm really happy you're here today. I hope you're having a good day. Let's spend a little time together and practice some real English. Today's topic is something that affects every one of us, young or old, student or worker, busy or not so busy. We all have the same 24 hours every day, but sometimes those hours disappear before we even notice. Let me ask you something. Have you ever picked up your phone just to reply to one message? You tell yourself, it will only take a minute. You open the app, you reply, then you notice another message. Then a short video catches your attention. You watch it. Then another one starts. Then another. A little later, you look at the time. 40 minutes are gone, maybe even an hour, and you stop for a moment. You think, what happened? I wasn't planning to spend my morning like this. I think almost everyone has experienced this. I know I have. The interesting thing is that we usually don't notice time while it is disappearing. We only notice it after it's gone. And once it's gone, we can't get it back. That may sound a little serious, but don't worry. This isn't going to be one of those episodes that tells you to work harder every minute of the day. That's not real life. We all need time to relax. We all need time to laugh. We all need days when we simply slow down. Today, we're going to talk about something different. We're going to talk about using our time with more intention, not by becoming perfect, but by becoming a little more aware, because sometimes a very small change can make a surprisingly big difference. If this is your first time here, welcome. On this podcast, we practice English the way people really speak it, slowly, clearly, and naturally. So if you enjoy learning English through real conversations, subscribe and join us. We have many more episodes waiting for you. Now, let's begin. I want you to imagine something. Imagine that every morning someone gives you a small glass bottle. Inside that bottle is your time for the day. Nothing more, nothing less. You can use it however you want. You can spend it learning, working, talking with people you love, reading, walking outside, listening to music, or simply resting after a long day. It's completely your choice, but there's one rule. When the bottle is empty, that's it. You don't get more. Tomorrow, you'll receive another bottle, but today's bottle is gone forever. I like this picture because it reminds me of something important. Money can come back. If you lose money, you can earn more. If your phone breaks, you can replace it. If you lose your keys, you'll probably find them. But time is different. Once today becomes yesterday. It never comes back. That doesn't mean we should become afraid of wasting a single minute. Life isn't a race. Sometimes the best thing you can do is sit quietly with a cup of coffee, take a walk, spend time with your family, or simply do nothing for a while. Rest is important. Real rest is never wasted. We'll talk more about that later. A few weeks ago, something happened that made me think differently about my own time. I was working on my computer for most of the afternoon. After a while, I started feeling tired. So I smiled and said to myself, Alex, you deserve a short break. That sounded like a good idea. I stood up, made myself a fresh cup of coffee, sat down on the sofa, and picked up my phone. My plan was very simple. 5 minutes. That's all. Just 5 minutes. I even believed myself. Maybe you've said those same words before. Just 5 minutes. The first video was funny. The second one was interesting. The third one taught me something new. The fourth one, honestly, I can't even remember. When I finally looked at the clock, I was shocked. More than an hour had passed. An entire hour. The strange part wasn't the time. The strange part was how I felt. I wasn't relaxed. I wasn't happier. I wasn't full of energy. I actually felt more tired than before. And I kept asking myself one simple question. Where did that hour go? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Maybe after scrolling on your phone, maybe after watching television, maybe after doing something that didn't really matter. It's a strange feeling, because while we're doing it, everything feels normal. But later, we realize that the time has quietly disappeared. That's when I understood something. The biggest problem isn't that we don't have enough time. The biggest problem is that we often don't notice where our time is going. And once I realized that, everything started to change. Not all at once. Not in 1 week. Not with some perfect morning routine. It started with one very small habit. A habit so simple that almost anyone can do it. And surprisingly, that tiny habit changed the way I planned my entire day. Let's talk about that next. After that day, I realized something. Most of us don't need more time. We need more direction. Think about this. Imagine you're driving to a new place. You get into your car. You start the engine. You begin driving. But you never enter the address into your GPS. What happens? You drive, you turn left, then right. You keep moving, but you're not really getting anywhere. Now imagine you type one simple address into the GPS. Suddenly, everything changes. The road is still the same. The car is still the same. You are still the same person. The only difference is that now you know where you're going. I think our days are very similar. Many mornings begin like this. I'll practice English today. I'll read a book. I'll exercise. I'll do something useful. Those are good ideas, but they're very big. And big ideas can sometimes make us do nothing. Instead, try something much smaller. Tell yourself, today I'll learn 3 new words. Or, today I'll listen to 10 minutes of English. Or even, today I'll read 1 page. That's enough. Small goals are easier to start. And once you start, it's much easier to keep going. I learned this lesson the hard way. A few years ago, I wanted to build better habits. Every Monday, I made a long list. Wake up early, exercise, read 30 pages, study English for an hour, drink more water, cook healthy meals, go to bed early. By Wednesday, I was already tired, not because the goals were impossible, because there were simply too many of them. So I changed my approach. I stopped asking, how much can I do today? Instead, I started asking, what's one small thing I can definitely finish? That simple question changed everything. Sometimes my goal was only 10 minutes of English. That's it, 10 minutes. Some days I studied for 30 minutes, sometimes even an hour. But I never forced myself to do more. I only promised myself those first 10 minutes, and something interesting happened. Starting became much easier. Maybe you've noticed this too. The hardest part is usually not the work itself. The hardest part is beginning. Once you begin, Your brain often says, well, I'm already here. I can keep going. That's why small steps are so powerful. They don't feel scary. They feel possible, and possible things get done. There's another idea that helped me a lot. I like to call it hidden time. Maybe you know it by another name. These are the little moments we usually ignore. 5 minutes while waiting for the bus. 7 minutes before a meeting starts. A few minutes while your coffee is getting ready. 10 minutes before you go to bed. Each moment feels very small, almost too small to matter. But together, they become something much bigger. Imagine someone gives you $1 every day. It doesn't sound like much, but after many days, it starts to grow. Time works the same way. 5 minutes today, 10 minutes tomorrow, another 5 minutes the next day. After a few months, you've spent many hours learning English without ever feeling that you were studying for a long time. I once met a woman who spoke English very well. I asked her, "When do you find time to practice?" She smiled and gave me an answer I'll never forget. She said, "I never find time. I use the small moments that are already there." I loved that answer. She wasn't waiting for a free afternoon. She wasn't waiting for the perfect schedule. She simply used the little pieces of time that most people never notice. She listened to English while cooking, while walking, while waiting in line, while folding clothes, little by little, day after day. And that's how she improved. Not because she had more time than everyone else, but because she used her time differently. Sometimes we think learning English requires long study sessions. It doesn't. What it really requires is consistency. A little today, a little tomorrow, and then a little more the next day. That's how real progress happens, almost so slowly that you don't notice it, until one day you suddenly understand a movie, or you answer someone in English without translating first, and you realize you've come much further than you thought. There's one more thing I'd like to talk about, something that quietly steals our time. Sometimes we don't even notice it. I'm talking about distractions. They come in many different forms. For some people, it's social media. For others, it's endless notifications. Sometimes it's checking emails every few minutes. Sometimes it's opening your phone without any real reason. It happens so easily. You tell yourself, "I'm just going to check something." A few minutes later, you're reading comments, watching videos, looking at photos, jumping from one app to another. Your attention keeps moving, but nothing really gets finished. I don't think phones are the enemy. I use my phone every day. I'm sure you do too. The problem isn't the phone. The problem is when we stop choosing what we're doing. Instead, our attention is choosing for us. That's a very different thing. One small change helped me a lot. When I decide to practice English, I put my phone somewhere I can't easily reach. Not forever. Just for a little while. Something surprising happens. Without notifications, without the screen lighting up every few minutes, my mind becomes much quieter. I can focus. I enjoy learning more, and those 10 minutes become much more valuable. Maybe you could try that too. Just once. You don't have to change your whole life. Simply protect 10 minutes, 10 quiet minutes. You might be surprised by how much you can learn. But I also want to say something that many people forget. Rest is not the same as wasting time. Those are two very different things. Imagine your phone battery. If you use it all day without charging it, eventually it stops working. People are exactly the same. We all need rest. We all need sleep. We all need moments when we do absolutely nothing. That isn't laziness. That's how we recover. The goal isn't to fill every minute with work. The goal is to spend our time on things that truly matter. Sometimes that means studying English. Sometimes it means having dinner with your family. Sometimes it means taking a walk, reading a good book, listening to music, or simply sitting quietly with a cup of coffee. A balanced life is a healthy life, and healthy habits last much longer than perfect habits. Before we finish today's episode, let's remember a few useful words we use today. The first word is intentional. When you do something intentionally, you do it because you choose to, not by accident. For example, I want to be more intentional with my time. Another useful word is distracted. If you're distracted, it's difficult to focus. Your attention keeps moving from one thing to another. You might say, I get distracted when my phone is next to me. We also talked about focus. Focus simply means giving your full attention to one thing. For example, it's easier to learn English when you focus on one small task. Another expression I really like is small steps, because that's how almost every big success begins. One small step, then another, then another. Finally, remember the word balance. Balance means giving the right amount of time to different parts of your life. Work, learning, family, friends, rest. When those things work together, life usually feels much better. Now, I'd like to leave you with one simple challenge. Not for next week, not for next month. Today, choose one small thing you'll do after this episode. Maybe you'll learn 3 new words. Maybe you'll listen to another 10 minutes of English. Maybe you'll read 1 page of a book. It doesn't have to be something big. It just has to be something you'll actually do. Small actions repeated every day become big results. And before you realize it, you've built a habit. You've become more confident, and your English has improved. Little by little, day by day. Before we say goodbye, I'd love to hear from you. What is one thing that usually wastes your time? And what is one small change you're going to make after listening to today's episode? Write your answer in the comments. I read as many of your comments as I can, and I really enjoy hearing about your progress. If today's episode helped you, don't forget to subscribe to Learn English Daily. And if you know someone who's learning English just like you, share this episode with them. You never know. One small recommendation might help someone build a new habit. Thank you for spending your time with me today. And remember something. You didn't spend the last few minutes just listening to English. You invested them in yourself. That's something to be proud of. Take care of yourself. Keep practicing. Keep moving forward. One small step at a time. I'm Alex, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye.